a second session planned for everyone, which is it is by Mr. Subrahmanyam Pulipaka, sir. He is the Chief Executive Officer of National Solar Energy Federation of India. He's an alumnus of BITS Pilani. He was one of the youngest winners of the BRICS Young Scientist Award in 2018. He's also the founding chairman of the India Africa Youth Energy Forum, which is a platform that is dedicated to nurture future energy leaders in the Indian subcontinent and in the African continent. So, Mr. Subrahmanyam Pulipaka, sir, thank you so much for taking the time out and being present here. I'd hand over the virtual stage to you.
Thank you very much, Shriyanka, and very good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon.
It is, I would say, it requires great courage to organize a session on Sunday afternoon, and it requires greater courage to listen and join and listen in the session. I would like to keep my remarks very short and would like to sort of encourage more questions from the attendees today, students and all, and like to keep it more interactive. I am Subrahmanyam Pulipaka. I am the CEO of National Solar Energy Federation of India. National Solar Energy Federation of India, or NSCFI, is India's umbrella organization for solar companies in the country. We are at the helm of policy advocacy. We are the bridge between the government and industry. But today I'm not going to talk much about what we do in NSCFI, but I want to sort of give you a picture of what the sector is, what solar energy sector has gone through in the last decade, what is in store for us in the next decade, and how young engineers like you should utilize this opportunity and leverage India's ambitious goals and targets. I have a small presentation. I'll just try to share it. So I won't want to emphasize much on the technicalities and theory part of what Indian solar is and how we have gone through it in detail, but I'll pick some slides which might be of interest to all of you here. So today, most of you must be hearing about what solar energy is. Some of you must be having solar rooftop on the top of your roofs. You must have seen some solar pumps. You must have seen solar street lights. Solar is everywhere today. To give you a context, India is the 5th largest country today in terms of installed solar capacity. And we are world's 4th largest country in terms of total installed renewable capacity. And we were able to do this only in the span of last 7 years, and that's a remarkable feat. When you look at last year in 2021 July, India has completed around 100 gigawatt of renewables. This is up, we have to update it, but today's figure is almost 106 gigawatt of renewables, and the total share of renewables in the installed power capacity has touched almost 30% as we speak today. This is a graph which we always show here, where you have almost in a span of 8 years, we have increased our capacity 16 times, 17 times. And this is a growth or the scale with which no country has even imagined to install. I mean, we have to remove the outlier country, which we want to talk about in that. When we compare it to the developing countries, India has done a remarkable job in installing. As of March 1st, we have completed 50 gigawatt of installations of solar. We have hit a sweet half century in solar, and we are only going great and going more intense in solar energy installations in the coming days. Like I told you, we have crossed 100 gigawatt in August 2021, and solar has surpassed wind now. Until last year, wind used to be the highest source of renewable energy in the country. Now solar has surpassed wind, and now we are more than wind in terms of installed capacity. Because I'm using Google, I think you can't see the figures here, but we have a target of 100 gigawatt by 2022. Before the government came into power in 2014, our target was a meager 20 gigawatt by 2022. 1 gigawatt is 1000 megawatt, in case you don't know, and 1 megawatt is 1000 kilowatt. So 20 gigawatt is 20,000 megawatt, and that target has been reached to 100 gigawatt. It's 100,000 megawatt, and out of that we have already installed 50 gigawatt, like I told you. And in the pipeline of installation, we have almost another 52 gigawatt of solar in different stages of installation. Some of them have been tendered, some of them have been awarded, some of them have been signed, some of them have been in different phases of installation across the country. We have another 8 to 10 gigawatt odd. So total 110 gigawatt of solar installations are in different phases of commissioning, tendering, installation, and all in the country as we speak. Today, if you look at the investments in Indian solar sector, 2020 has been a low, uh, 2020 hit a low because of obvious reasons of COVID and other global supply chain issues. But we bounced back in 2021, and there is no year since 2017 where we didn't receive at least $7 to $8 billion of investments in the country. This is, I'm talking pure play foreign direct investments. The total merger and acquisition values and all, if you factor into it, it's easily crossing $15 billion per year. And 2021 has been the best year so far with around $16.3 billion. The other part here is how, as a country, we are achieving historically low tariffs. Now, tariffs is what all of us can relate to today. When you are at your home, you might be paying electricity bill. Per unit cost might be differing from one state to other state, and these are based upon the states, how they procure, from which source they procure, and from which generator they procure. So the moment the renewable energy prices are falling down, obviously that price, the fall in price will reflect in the tariffs that you are paying to your distribution company. And today the lowest tariff in solar is 1.99 rupees per unit. This is all-time lowest in India and the second lowest in the world for a pure solar bid that has been conducted. This is the part where I want to sort of stop my introduction. The reason I went through these first 7-8 slides is to sort of ignite that curiosity in you, that okay, these are big numbers and this is the industry and this is what's going on. From now, I'll introduce you to the different verticals of solar energy, what are their applications, what is the status in India, technical side, the economical side, and a little bit of policy side. I don't want to bore you on the policy side all throughout. So today, we believe at the Federation, we believe we will install around 100 gigawatt in the next 4 years on the low scenario, or 160 gigawatt in the next 4 years in the high scenario. Our 2022 estimate, you can see, our lowest scenario was 58. We will somewhere fare around 58. So as of now, we are very steadily traversing the low scenario path of achieving our solar installations. Now, coming back to the market and the verticals. If you look at solar energy today in our country, it can be broadly divided into 4 verticals. One is large scale solar. The second is rooftop solar or distributed solar. The third is solar manufacturing. And the fourth is solar pumps and agriculture solar. These 4 verticals use the principle of solar energy technology, but they have different purposes to serve, they have different applications, and they are handled in a different way altogether from each other. So I'll introduce you to each one of them. I don't want to go into detail of everything. Maybe we can take those in questions, but I'll try to do my level best in introducing you to what each vertical is, what they do, and what's going on in the sector. So the utility scale. The utility scale sector is, when I say utility scale, it means large ground mounted modules. So you can, I don't know if I have any photos, I'll show you. We have solar parks, gigawatt scale parks. You have thousands and thousands of acres of land covered with solar modules. Solar park can be as small as 500 megawatt, which requires, let's say, 1,000 acres or some 2,000 acres. And it can be as big as 3,000 megawatt, which requires more than 3,000, 1,200, 1,300 acres. That is the scale at which we are looking at the utility scale solar plant. And this is how the large scale solar is distributed in the country. You can see the southern states predominantly uh, dominate this narrative of ground mounted installations, which are utility scale. Main reason being the land availability, the solar resource availability is higher there. On the western part, you can see Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Madhya Pradesh also performing very good. Rajasthan is the state in our country which has highest solar irradiance. So it is natural that you have more solar installation there. As of March 15th, that is last week or this week, Karnataka has sort of has been overthrown by Rajasthan, and Rajasthan became number one state in solar installations in the country. This figure was updated in October last year. So this part is the payment security part, ecosystem part, where the policy, there's a strong government resolve, there is structured process for bidding, there are regulations, there is payment security, everything is there. So I'll tell you the, I think some of my slides you can't see because I'm using it in the Google Chrome. Maybe I can send these slides to you and you can project it, the team.
Sure, sir. Will you mail us, sir? Or
Yeah, I'll just send that because I'm losing some good key content
sure, sir. No problem.
which I wanted to show. But let me just send it. In the meantime, you can you can open it. In the meantime, I'll go on with my presentation, and once it is done, we can look into it.
Yes, sir.
So I sent to Rishiraj.
Okay, sir.
The second presentation. So when I say utility scale, the model is very simple. You have a bidding mechanism where investors who want to build plants will be part of the bid. You bid for it, you quote a tariff, and it is your responsibility to construct, operate, and run that plant for 15, 20 years. And for every unit you generate and give it to the grid, you get paid back. So that is the sort of ecosystem or the infrastructure that is in place for utility scale solar in the country. Today, as of March, out of 50 gigawatt we installed, 44 gigawatt comes from these large scale plants. You can see in this figure, this is out of all the solar, the major chunk of large scale solar comes from these 6 states. And if you ask me, these 4 states are the front runners: Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Rajasthan, and Andhra Pradesh. And the resource availability, the land availability have been sort of a contributing factors for this kind of thing, I could say, in utility scale. When I get the slide of opportunity, I'll go back there. But now let me go to the distributed solar sector. Distributed solar is solar rooftop systems. We have, as a country, we are very blessed. We have 300 plus solar days or sun days. That is, sun is available for 300 days. And the beauty of solar energy is it can be consumed where you're producing it. Imagine a conventional power generation source. What do you think is the loss of energy from the production site to the consumption site when we, use the energy? Let's say we are using a thermal plant. Somewhere near my hometown, there's a thermal plant, and that power is generated, and 1700 kilometers later, it is coming to my home in Delhi today. Can you imagine how much percentage of energy that is generated there is actually coming to me? You will be surprised. I'm sure all of you must be thinking of different numbers now, but the actual answer is 5%. 95% of energy gets lost in the process of distribution, transmission, transportation. This is a colossal loss of energy. And this colossal loss is who is consuming that energy? No one is consuming the energy. So conventional power generation systems are sort of rigged to waste energy. While for solar or renewable energies in general, but solar in specific, for I'm talking about rooftop here, you have a solar on your roof and you install the solar system and you connect to the grid. Whenever your next door neighbor needs an electricity and you already consumed enough and you're pumping to the grid, your next door neighbor might tap from this energy that is produced from your rooftop, and that energy, the transmission time, the distance, the loss is almost negligible, not even 1 to 2%. So see how efficient distributed and renewable energy generation systems are, and why we should push for these kind of installations in our country. Today, we have a very visible ecosystem in solar energy. It is also a little bit unfortunate today that as a residential consumer, like I'm sitting in my home, I'm using 2, 3 air conditioners, one TV, one refrigerator, and all. I pay less electricity per unit tariff compared to a guy who is manufacturing some product, who is running a mall, who is running a shop. Because in our country, we are one of the few countries where the electricity tariff is inverted, where the residentials pay less and the corporate industries pay more. So they have more incentive to shift to solar so that their electricity bill comes less than you and I have. That is the reason why solar rooftop per se has not kicked off on residential systems, but the corporate and industrial procurers have had it good. Uh, they found it more beneficial to them when it comes to solar energy, solar rooftop systems, how it save them electricity charges. Their unit price is 8 to 9 or 7 rupees. Solar today comes at 2, 3 rupees, so they'll be effectively saving those 3, 4 rupees extra per unit every day and every month, and until the system functions 15 to 20 years. So that is how the rooftop ecosystem has sort of developed very much in the country. Uh, then there is also another sort of a driving factor for rooftop. Today, when we look at countries like Germany, it has become sort of a, how can I say? I saw you have one speaker who talk about blockchain. He will be in a better position to explain to you. But you are opening up the market and you are ensuring the market drives the demand. So what happens when market drives the demand? Imagine a hypothetical situation where I have a solar rooftop, I have a battery with me. You have a solar rooftop, you have a battery with you, storage, and then the grid is connected to all of us. There is 12 p.m. In the afternoon, sun is very good, my system is fully charged, I'm not using much, I'm not at home, but the grid needs extra energy because there is huge demand for air conditioners because it's summer. Grid says, okay, Zubu, you have a storage, you have a battery with you. Why don't I buy from your storage and I'll pay you back for the units that I took from your storage? That is one transaction. The second transaction is, okay, now it's a rainy day, my solar is not charging, my battery is not full, I am unable to get electricity from my solar and storage. So I'll go to grid and say, boss, I am in need of energy, I'm going to tap from you, you can charge me as per the rate today. So this kind of transaction of energy is what we call the next level of smart grid integration. And you might not believe it or not, today India has taken concrete steps to take us closer to it. We are not there yet, but we are in different, we have figured out different pieces of the puzzle which can get us there. We have addressed most of them judiciously, especially in cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Chandigarh, even Hyderabad, as a matter of fact. these governments, the utilities have understood how to facilitate this kind of ecosystem. There are policies that are coming into place, and then you can sort of understand how once this comes into picture, the energy process is democratized. In US, there is this company called Lo3 Energy who use the same principle, but they use it under the blockchain platform through the blockchain methodology, where you have, let's say, a community solar. There are a lot of apartments, everyone has their own solar, and you might need when someone else is having excess, and someone else might need when you're having excess. So you do all these transactions, and there's a ledger that is there, and it's an independent one, it's validated by third party. So this is endless. So what I want to try to convey here is the distributed solar segment is where we are going to go big, and we are going to sort of get more traction today in India per se. Solar pumps is an interesting thing. After this, maybe if my technical problem gets sorted, I want to show you some very good agri PV sites across the country, which might be very interesting for you to see. That the solar pumps scheme in India has started in 2014-15. This is how many pumps are in the country as we speak. But there's a new scheme that will install almost 3 million solar pumps across the country, 2 million of them off grid, 1 million of them on grid. And there's another part of the scheme that promotes farmers to install solar on the farming land and use that land for both purposes. So after my remarks here, I'll try to show you those things. That's my favorite topic to talk about. And that is something that is a game changer. Today, imagine the first part of solar I talked about is large scale solar, corporates install, they'll sell to government, they make money, and solar is helping you save environment. The second part is rooftop, where you are installing it on your roof, you're saving money from your pocket, you are contributing to the fight against climate change. At the same time, you are decreasing the electricity losses. So here, as a common individual, you are part of the system. The third one is pumps, where a common man like a farmer whose primary source of income is agriculture can use solar, can leverage solar and double his income by selling the electricity that is excess after he uses for his irrigation needs. So that is something that, beauty of solar energy, on how it is helping transform different echelons of the society, different stakeholders in the society and all. Last part of my presentation is on manufacturing. I don't want to bore you guys on manufacturing at all. There are a lot of schemes, lot of activity going on. Today, if you look at solar technology for manufacturing, we are at the verge of graduating from low efficiency technologies to high efficiency technologies. I don't know how many of you are from material science or chemical engineering, but the demand for energy efficient modules is at its peak, and a lot of research is going on in discovering, making, processing the materials which can help generate higher efficiency. The logic here is very simple. Sun is not charging you for using his energy, so it's free, technically free. But out of the sun irradiance that is incident on a panel, today we are not able to convert more than 18.5 to 19.5% of that light energy into electrical energy. That means we are not able, we are wasting 80% of energy outright. So why don't we innovate, find arenas where this kind of efficiency can be increased? I've been hearing reports today morning. I was reading there is some new technology of organic PV that is promising 30% of efficiency. Already research is going on perovskite, which is a new breakthrough that has been achieved by the sector in the last 2-3 years. They are saying 25% is efficiency. So efficiency part is something that is something that's very, very interesting to talk about. Uh, Before I stop my slides here, what I want to end my presentation with is where is solar going in the country? It's just demand, demand, and demand. We are going to install on an average at least 15 to 20 gigawatt of solar every year from this year. And that is where the demand is. Now you can ask me, why am I giving you jnana of solar demand on a Sunday afternoon? That is because there are uh, opportunities for stakeholders, there are opportunities for young engineers to tap into the potential of solar energy sector today in the country. Uh, there is often this misconception among people that solar energy is limited to electrical engineers, and that's 100% wrong. Today, you cannot install a solar plant without a mechanical engineer. You cannot design it without a civil engineer. You cannot operate and maintain it without someone with the knowledge of AI or ML or computer programming, basic programming. All these things are necessary. So let me give you a sort of a reality check on what is going on the ground. Today, when you install a solar plant, you have before installation, you have to model the plant. You have to take into consideration the resource that is available there. You need GIS assistance. You need potential maps. You need satellite data. You need a GIS person to help you there. Then you have a plan. Then you know how much solar energy you can generate, how many units you can produce, how much revenue you're going to get, and then you're going to quote a tariff and you will win the project. You won it. You have to install. You need a design that will ensure you get optimum performance. That design is not done by an electrical engineer. It's done by someone who is proficient in designing structures which are rigid enough to withstand this. Some of these days we are seeing there are a lot of images. I don't know whether you have seen or not. There will be storms, sudden storms, because of which the wind speed increases above 120 kilometer per hour, and then the modules fly away. So these reliability things also need to be considered. So you need someone there. We have an engineer there. Then you need someone who will design the electrical part of it, how you connect the modules, how current is same in series and voltage is same in parallel. And you need to have a system which will have the current and voltage ratings that can go into your inverter, rate, which is the rating of the inverter. So that is the electrical engineer part. Then you have to operate and maintain the system. You have to commission it and synchronize it to grid. That is how operations person comes into picture. Now, after you do all of these things, every week you have to tell the discom and the load dispatch center, sir, this is how much energy I think I'm going to produce. So you have to forecast your energy, and you have a bandwidth. If your forecast goes plus or minus of the bandwidth, you have to pay penalty. So who does this forecasting? You need highly powerful artificial intelligence powered machine learning algorithms which are crunching all data, testing, training, validating, and then giving you an approximation of how many units you're going to generate in the next 1 week, so that you will give an approximation. So this is how an end-to-end part of solar energy generation ecosystem works. And I think as a country, we are at a very interesting juncture for when it comes to solar energy generation technologies, when it comes to solar energy policy, when it comes to the economics of solar energy. And all of us, all of you should leverage it, try to find your part or your role in the system. I started my journey as not so long ago. I was sitting and listening to some of these lectures like you. And as an engineer, I started my journey researching on the reliability of PV modules. And then I written almost 15 to 20 research articles while I was at my undergrad at BITS. Then I had my own company which was working again, extending the work that I did at BITS. And then finally, fortunately, I have been picked here. And in the last 4 years, I spent majority of my time in policy related aspects. So we need all of us, we need engineers, we need level headed thinking, technically oriented people in the sector who can bring lot of new ideas, innovative concepts, and more than anything, a fresh thought or fresh approach to the sector. And all of you are in very prime stage, and this is the right time for you to leverage it and take advantage of it. And before I break down for questions, I think my last suggestion for you would be to sort of explore each and every path. Some words are buzzwords. Everyone might be behind them, like AI, ML. I'm using them because I know they intrigue you and they excite you. But look at the applications part of it. Don't look at the the theory part of it. Uh, Understanding the theory will help you, but understanding the application will shape the way you look at it. So when I started my reliability research, I was never a solar guy. I had zero interest or idea about solar then. But my forte was data analytics and algorithm making. That drew me to solar, and then I ended up here. So look at the applications part rather than the theory part. At this moment, I might look like I'm telling you too much, or I'm telling you things that are out of your purview. But the moment you look at the applications part, it is just gonna make your life more and more easier. You have a very good faculty, and I'm very happy this industry academia thing is going on. In fact, very soon we are going to launch our own industry academia council, where we want students to get mentored from industry experts in the solar energy, so that solar energy becomes a mainstream subject. So that's it from my side. I'll be happy to take questions if you have any.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much, sir. That was very insightful and very engrossing a discussion. We have a couple of questions. So the first question is, the first question is, Elon Musk says that solar energy is not feasible to power vehicles, but he also says that solar energy could entirely power China. So according to you, which are the domains or industries where we should be focusing for adoption of solar energy?
See, solar energy cannot power vehicles is you have to look at the context in which Mr. Musk has mentioned that. Today, I'll give you a very classic example, and after I complete my example, it might not hit you right, but maybe after 2-3 days you'll understand what Musk said and what I said. What is the difference? Imagine you are saying you're polluting the environment because of using a petrol or diesel car, right? So the alternative for you is an electric vehicle. Very good. So you get rid of your petrol or diesel car, you buy an electric vehicle, and then you have to charge the electric vehicle. How are you going to charge that electric vehicle? You need to have supply of electricity. So what is the point of getting rid of a petrol or diesel vehicle and getting an electric vehicle which will only be charged by electricity from the grid, where the grid is powered by thermal source which is already polluting environment? So what is the loop is never ending. So you got rid of your other conventional vehicle because it's polluting environment. You bought electric vehicle and you're charging it with electricity that is coming from generation sources which are polluting environment. That's a no-brainer. So solar energy might not power a vehicle today. By 2030, 2040, we will have more than 60% of electricity coming from solar energy. So if you're charging from the grid, 60% of energy you're using is from solar. So you are using solar also there. It's not like you have a solar panel and you connect it to your vehicle, then only you're using it. Today, I'm telling you, all of you, including me, in the electricity we are consuming, 9.2% is coming from solar energy. For every 10 units you use, for every 100 units you use, 9 units are coming from solar energy in the entire country. If you're in Delhi like me, it is more, it is 16 or something. If you are in Andhra, it is 26. If you are in Tamil Nadu, it is 31. That difference matter changes based on the discount, but 9% is a national average. So all of us are consuming solar energy. Now, solar energy can power economy and economic activities. The second part of your question. What are the industry or what are areas where solar energy can be very useful? First and foremost is industrial processes. Today we have a lot of industrial processes which are using conventional source of energy, which can be shifted to solar energy. Simple, which I mentioned to you in the rooftop. The second part is replacing diesel gensets. Do you know how many gigawatt of diesel gensets we have in our country? It's almost 30 plus gigawatt of active diesel generator sets. Including inactive, it is 60 gigawatt. Our total demand in the country today is 200 gigawatt. And 60 gigawatt worth we have diesel generator sets working. That's like almost a quarter of our total demand. And diesel generators, of course, they pollute environment. So that is a classic example where you can replace diesel generator set with solar and storage. That's another example. The third example, third application, agriculture, which I mentioned. Solar plus agriculture is the combination made in heaven. Today, I am from solar. I'm talking about solar, but I also chair a working group in IRENA, which is a UN body, International Renewable Energy Agency, where I'm the chair of renewables in agriculture working group, where we are trying to look at how different renewable sources can integrate with agriculture. Solar plus agriculture. You have solar. Solar pumps can be used for irrigation. Solar powered dryers, solar powered cold storage can help you to process and store your food, a crop. 1 kg of potato a farmer sells in India in a rural market, he gets 2 rupees. Imagine there is a solar powered dryer in that village. Sorry. And he's solar powered cold storage. He will store the potato for a week and then he'll dry it and sell the dried potato to the companies who make chips. Can you imagine how much he'll get per 1 kg? He'll get per 1 kg at least 20 to 25 rupees. Same potato, nothing. He has done nothing. The value is added by the cold storage and the dryer, which are powered by renewable sources. So see how value addition is happening on grassroots level because of renewable energy sources. This is what we should look at. Rural economy is the backbone of our country. The moment we are passing the value addition to the grassroots level, we are going to contribute to the economy and in turn contribute to our energy demand. This part I didn't want to touch because it is too much theoretical, but and theatrical both. Our energy consumption, average energy consumption in India per capita is 1/10 of the world. That is how less we consume per capita. Why? Because economic empowerment is not there throughout the grassroots. So the moment we are going, sending electricity down the value chain, our economy is going to increase, opportunities are going to increase, the demand is going to increase, and the society status is going to increase. So that is when we can transform from a developing country to developed country. So energy is the truest path of transition from developing to developed. And in this decade, it is renewable energy. I can go on and on with examples, application-oriented examples. But you name a sector, I'll find it very hard to tell you why you can't use solar. You can name any sector. Today, for God's sake, we are having solar-powered aeroplanes being developed, solar-powered yachts being developed, solar-powered cargo ships being developed, solar-powered trains are in the process of development. So you should look at solar as a omnipresent technology today. It's just not for electricity generation. There is a new buzz about green hydrogen, and green hydrogen can only be produced from solar. I don't know whether all of you know about electrolysis. It's a very simple process. You put electricity in water, you get hydrogen and oxygen. But what we don't know is that hydrogen can be used as a fuel and can be used to store energy. And if this electricity that is going into water, if it is coming from renewable energy source, it becomes green hydrogen. Exactly 1 week from now, Indian government is going to announce a hydrogen mission. And that is going to be a game changer for the sector. So a lot of these things are there where you can find applications for solar energy in the country. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir. Sir, just one more question, sort of connecting to the previous question. So he spoke about, it having widespread applications. So you also spoke about how solar energy could help sort of empower at people at the grassroots level. So on both fronts, sir, what are the major challenges in the Indian context, like to the adoption of solar energy, both at the grassroots level and at a wider, industry level, maybe?
A very, very good question. And the reason why I don't get more than 4 hours of sleep is because of this question. See, today, the three parts in which I can answer your question, and I'll spend equal time on this and I'll not take much time. First and foremost aspect today, we, let us say, because of colonial mindset, colonial infrastructure, and the legacy infrastructure that we have, taken from our colonizers, who didn't think you can produce energy in DC, and who didn't think that you can produce energy where you're consuming it. So that infrastructure part is the most challenging and the key impediment for us today in the solar energy proliferation discussion. We are laying 145,000 kilometers of transmission infrastructure as we speak. It's called National Green Corridor. 67,000 kilometers is already done. 1 lakh kilometers more we have to build. That will only be used to evacuate solar. The moment you transport high voltage DC or ultra high voltage DC transmit, your losses will be very less. The moment you are transmitting AC, the loss will be more. So this transition through transmission is the key impediment in the large scale solar sector, according to me. Second part, awareness. I am 60-70 people today in this call. I'm not sure. This much I'm sure. Not even 20% of them know how much, how easy it is to get a rooftop, or what is the process to get a solar rooftop on your roof. That kind of awareness is lacking. How can we take this message into public is what, as a industry body, we are trying. We're working with the government and trying to find a message, how to take this message into masses. Because the moment we bring awareness, it will spread as a wildfire. Today, solar is being talked by 2% of the population, 1% of the population. That's all, not more than that. The moment we bring that percentage more, the solar growth will be more, solar spread will be more. Last but not the least is linked to the second one, but to some extent is an independent one its own, is the misconception that solar is costlier. Other misconceptions too about technology, but the price, economical aspect of it. So on contrary, solar is the cheapest source today in the country. Don't ask me why modules are becoming costlier today, solar modules. That is another story. But solar as an energy generation source is still cheaper in the country. So the moment these three sort of aspects or impediments are sorted, I think we will be good to go. 100 gigawatt we can install in 2 years. We are a country, China is doing 140, 150 gigawatt a year. And there it is being driven by a government. Today in India, take an example of our internet connectivity, our 4G SIMs. How much amount do companies spend in advertisement? Not much. Why? Because you know the utility of it, you know what is your use, and you know how much you're gonna save, and you know what is cheaper for what use. So that word of mouth, to get that level, is where we have to bring solar energy so that it will attain popularity.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that insightful session, and obviously for addressing the questions in such great detail. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.